Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading in particular, mystery reading number 636. Before getting into this reading, chances are most of the people watching this reading, or this video, I meant to say, are not subscribed. So if you are a recurring viewer, you enjoy my work and would like to help support the growth of my channel, feel free to do so by sticking around, hitting that subscribe button down below, and ringing the notification bell next to it so you don't miss an upload. My current goal is 500 subscribers so I can have access to offering channel memberships. So if you do decide to subscribe and support me, thank you very much. So I'm going to start this reading with interpreting the number 636, and it's very interesting because with 2 6s, the number 6 was very, very significant in the reading that I did yesterday. It's been coming up as significant in general. 444, 555 as well could be significant for someone. There's also a very, very, very strong message to trust that everything happens for a reason, so that way it's easier to love yourself unconditionally, so that way you can release anything and anyone that reinforce negative or unhelpful, unhealthy perceptions of yourself. It's time to recognize your worth and what you deserve, and only make room for people, places, and things that actually deserve to take up or occupy that space in your life. There's also the number 3, which really confirms the idea of healing, growing, communicating, and expressing yourself authentically. I do feel something significant here about boundaries, so if you do feel called to set those or enforce those or reinforce those, this is your confirmation to do that. It's important to know how to set boundaries so you can protect yourself from things that you just do not deserve and that definitely don't deserve you. So I'm going to, well actually first 6 plus 6, that's 12, 13, 14, 15, that, oh my god, 15 comes down to another 6. So unconditional love is undoubtedly very significant for someone. You deserve to heal, to see yourself for who you truly are, and to not only recognize your true potential, but actually tap into it and create a life of growth and abundance rather than restriction and limits. You deserve to feel free, freedom, which I'm being reminded of in a different reading when the word la libertà came through, which means, I believe, freedom in Italian. So your ancestors are really here to support you in obtaining and standing up for the freedom that you deserve. So now that I'm done interpreting 636 as much as I can, I am going to draw out a card from the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot to see what messages, energies, for some reason I just heard thoughts come through for this reading for you. I'm going to try to keep in mind that your thoughts are significant here, which is kind of ironic, but let's see what this card is. I swear if it's a swords card, and I just saw 432, it's a sign to trust that everything happens for a reason. I have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and this says work/home life imbalance, frustration, burnout, prioritize what's important, being pulled in different directions, And upright, it says stability, abundance. Wow, that's actually interesting. Content with life, caretaker, and joyful. This Queen of Pentacles represents, at least, with how I'm interpreting it right now in this moment, it represents feminine energy being aligned with masculine energy, your thoughts and your feelings and your passions being aligned with your actions, your inner world being aligned with your exterior world or external reality. I feel something here about analyzing the reality of what's going on inside of you, so that way you can recognize the reality outside of you. It's important for you to be able to tell the difference between lies that you tell yourself and truths that you tell yourself, so that way you can recognize outside of you where the lies and the truth are coming from, and you ultimately know where to invest yourself and your energy and your future. This Queen of Pentacles represents somebody, as the card says, being pulled in many different directions. That frustration is definitely coming through, especially if you are a person with strong integrity. I thought it was interesting that I mentioned abundant, and then we get the Queen of Pentacles and upright, at least in the light energy with the way that I interpret it for this reading. We have abundance. A lack mentality could be making it harder for you to move on, to heal. It might be good and helpful for you to appreciate who you are or what you already do have. Make sure you're not villainizing the darkness, the unknown, because it does have something to offer. I am thinking of the yin and yang symbol that represents, there's always good in the bad and bad in the good. So what are you going to choose to focus on here? The bad amongst the good, or the good amongst the bad? The light among the dark, or the darkness among the light? It really depends on how you're being called to balance out your energy here. There could be too much light and you're blinded by it, by too much optimism, or there could be not enough light and you're lost in the darkness. So, if you feel more pessimistic, it's time to be a little more optimistic. And if you're more optimistic, it's time to be a little more pessimistic, or realistic is another way that I would put it. I get this head in the clouds type of energy. Someone here is a daydreamer. And it's a strength, but it can also be a weakness. So how can you use it as a strength? It's very important for you to reflect on your energy. And I just felt your thoughts. I see why your thoughts are significant now, because it's important to have more control, more self-discipline when it comes to the way that you think, the way you look at things. I'm getting like strong chariot type of energy, you being in control of your life and not your fears, not the overthinking. What fear or fears do you need to face and overcome to get the freedom that you deserve? I'm feeling this energy of like a bird in a cage, which I really love that analogy personally when talking about freedom, because birds can be beautiful, their singing can be beautiful, and when you see them in a cage it can be sad. So maybe there's someone here that recognizes that you are trapped, or you feel trapped in your own mind, in your own circumstances. And this could be yourself. You could recognize this of yourself. And it's important to hold on to that recognition so you don't lose sight of your goals, the freedom that you're trying to achieve in your life. You could also recognize that others, they feel trapped when they're really not. Or it could be a projection. Again, this speaks more on being able to tell the difference between truth and lies. So is there someone in your life that do you truly see them for who they are? Or are you projecting onto them an idea, an identity? I did see 1010, which is a sign that your spirit guides are near. They are present, I want to say for you, they're with you, especially your ancestors. They're really, really coming through to help you build a life, a home life, a foundation and relationships that are healthy and truly stable, secure, something or someone to rely on. And I looked down at the clock right when it says 1111 or 1111. There's two messages in this number for me. The first one being trust yourself. It's a strong message of trust yourself. This is something that I feel you need to be learning how to do more. If you don't trust yourself, is there a valid reason for that? How do you feel about your past decisions? It's complicated because it's like maybe there are some things that you shouldn't trust yourself on, but there are things here that you know for sure you can trust yourself on. The only way to know is to really put time and effort into understanding who you truly are. Or who you show up as, rather, because your shadows, that's not who you are. But other than trusting yourself, there's also a message here about your dreams, your wishes, your deep desires in life, that relationship that you really want, or that career that you really want, the friendships that you want. It's all possible for you. It's very much possible for you, and I think the universe wants you to know that. I feel like that is something that you can trust, that pathway, that journey is available to you. Do you see that pathway, that doorway, that portal? I wanted to say that threshold. And if you don't, why? Why don't you believe in the kind of reality that makes you feel at peace? Peace is possible. The letter P could be significant for someone, or the letter D, and I just heard the word pedantic. I'm not 100% sure what that means. It does remind me of Friends, though, because when Joey, he gets that toilet paper with the vocabulary on it, maybe the name Joey could be significant. I mean, I also feel like, okay, so I'm getting the letter J, P, and D. And I also got B. It's very interesting. Yeah, I don't really know what pedantic means. I did look it up at one point, but I don't remember. I don't have vocabulary toilet paper, okay? Maybe if you look that up, that definition could have some relevance for you, or it could resonate in some way to offer you at least a little bit of awareness and clarity. Is there anything else? Oh, the TV show Friends, of course. There could be a significant friendship here, or many friendships here, that you need to definitely take a closer look at and decide or discern if it's the kind of relationships that you actually deserve. And I just saw 444. This is about stability again, which could be saying that these friendships in your life are not stable and they don't reflect what you deserve. You deserve people, relationships that you can trust and rely on, for sure. And I just saw 1515. With the number 6, I also get the devil energy. I didn't mention it in the beginning because I forgot. I mean, you might have known that just by saying 666, because that number, just people know. But I do feel there is a friendship, or many friendships, maybe a friendship group that you are unhealthily attached to, that you need to break yourself away from and free yourself from. Maybe you're afraid of being alone, starting over, trying to find those new friendships. I totally understand that. Trust me, I only have like one friend. But the way I see it, it's better to be alone than to be around a bunch of people that make you feel that way. So I'm going to wrap up this reading by drawing out one card from this box of cards, which are cards I made myself. This also has the number 1 on the bottom, and I feel like that confirms the energy or idea of trusting yourself. I feel like you might already know the friends or the friend that I'm talking about. Okay, so this says, what holds you back from healing? Overcome those blockages. You'll find your way from there. There could be friends or just people in your life who discourage you from healing and making the changes that you need in your life that will bring you more peace. You could just be a more stubborn type of person. Regardless of what's holding you back from healing, it's very important that you look at that, overcome the resistance, because you deserve to be at peace. You deserve to have a reality that works for you, not against you. The relationships that support you, a job that supports you. You deserve a more supportive reality, I want to say. For sure. You could be a generous person who deserves more generosity being extended to you. And this, you'll find your way from there. That's a very interesting phrase. I'm not sure why, but it just stands out to me. I mean, it could be a message about trust. Like, maybe the idea of healing, the blockage could be like, I just feel overwhelmed and I don't know how to do this. And I'm being reminded of thoughts. So I do feel like there's guidance here when it comes to healing. It's important for you to understand that your mind is, your powerhouse, like the mitochondria of the cell, okay? And that's why it's so important for you to take your mental health seriously. It's important to really, truly understand how powerful your thoughts and your beliefs really can be when it comes to the kind of life that you create yourself, or, for yourself. Healing is about knowing that you have control over the narrative, the stories that you tell yourself. So are they too pessimistic? Too optimistic? Too unrealistic? Make sure you're definitely being honest with yourself, because lying, deceiving yourself out of frustration is only going to create more frustration, more blockages, and more relationships and opportunities that you don't deserve. So if you do feel frustration, which I did say, that frustration is coming through strong, validate it first. I'm sure there are reasons that you have to be frustrated, confident actually. But don't let this frustration take from you. Don't be self-destructive, you know. You can use this frustration in a more productive way that brings you abundance. I personally find gratitude to be a very important part of healing, which can be frustrating to hear, especially whenever you're really in the midst of the mental anguish. But once you get used to it, practicing gratitude, and you really feel the impact that it has on you and your life, it gets easier. So just be patient with yourself overall. Don't rush anything, of course, but also know where you're going, and know that how you feel matters and how you think matters as well. And I just saw 111 with the number 2, which is a message to trust yourself when it comes to knowing what to release, what to let go, what you need to do to heal.